Hello, this is Mr. Travis and Mr. May, and this is our internet safety workshop.
Hello, everyone.
Today you can see on the screen some of the topics we want to be talking about. We've got some really interesting videos to show you about what your teens and tweens are up to online and all the different programs they're using. We'd like to talk about streaming, downloading. Mr. May is going to be talking about cyberbullying. And then we're going to talk about how you can control the devices your children are using and where to find some really good helpful hints and tips. So up first is a video by a group called Common Sense, and they're from the US, and this is their media consumption. They did a survey earlier in the year about media consumption by tweens and teens. Tweens is a term for kind of just pre-teens, and yeah, please enjoy the video, it's very interesting. So, myself and Mr. May are watching that video, and we're both quite shocked of how much technology students have these days and how much access they have online and to communication.
Correct. Yeah. Each of the students, I'm amazed at how many have laptops and cell phones that can access the internet, and they use them quite a bit during the school day. Or during the day, as you can see in the video.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the previous generation, getting online was just through a PC or a laptop. But now, straight away, they're online in their pockets from their handies, or they've got tablets as well. So, coming up next, a couple of infographs I've taken from the video. So this is for students up to 8 years. 3/4 of them have access to a mobile device at home, which is quite shocking. The number of students have a smartphone as well has risen, and a lot of this is from a survey I did in 2011 and then redid it in 2012, and you can see here on the right hand side kind of how much it's increased, especially this one here, the watching videos with Netflix and Amazon Prime, etc. That's increased rapidly now. Students aren't sitting at home watching TV with the family. You don't need a big TV anymore. They are watching it all on their tablets and go anywhere in the house or anywhere outside. They've got internet connection and they can stream movies onto their device. This is for kind of a teen age. The tweens here on media, using media for 6 hours, around 6 hours a day, and teens for 9 hours a day, which is absolutely huge considering how much teenagers sleep. Here, and you can see from the screen just what's their media consumption. From the video, obviously it differs for different genders, but a lot of it is this passive consumption, which is watching TV and watching videos, and then the interactive consumption, playing games, browsing websites, etc. You can see here for teens the communication element becomes a lot bigger with the social media and the video chatting, which we'll come to a little bit later on. This is, well, if you've got teenagers, it probably won't come to much a surprise for you what they're actually kind of doing. Listening to music on their devices, watching TV, social media, and lots of other stuff as well. I mean,
Right.
keep me very busy.
My name is Alejandra, and I'm 13.
My name is Alejandra, and I'm
On a daily
13.
basis,
And
I go
on a daily
in the
basis,
morning,
I go on my
check
phone,
Instagram,
like in the morning, and I'll
Snapchat,
check my Instagram,
Kit,
Snapchat,
Twitter,
Kit,
Tumblr,
Twitter,
Vine,
Tumblr,
go to school, and I come back,
Vine,
and I use, like,
go to
I'll
school,
go on
and I come
Netflix,
back,
and I'll go to
and
my
I'll use
room,
like, I'll go on
listen to
Netflix, and I'll go to my room, and I'll listen to like
I'll play
Pandora,
my
Spotify,
Xbox,
I'll play
and
my
Grand
Xbox,
Theft
like
and Call of
Grand
Duty.
Theft Auto, and Call of
And
Duty,
that's about it.
and
If I would
that's
add
about
up
it.
all, like,
If I would add up all,
I think
like,
I would
the
spend
time that I
about
use,
7 to 8
I think I would
hours.
spend about 7 to 8 hours every day.
When I'm on social media, I
When
feel
I'm
like I
on
know
social
what's going
media,
on.
I feel like I know what's
you do
going
feel a
on.
little connected, and
You know, you do feel a little connected,
people are
and you
up
know,
to.
like what people are up to.
Like, I post pictures or videos.
Like,
I'll,
I
like,
post
comment
pictures
on
or
stuff.
videos.
I
I'll
don't think I'm
like comment on
addicted to it, my phone.
stuff. I don't think I'm
it's,
addicted
like,
to it, my
it's kind
phone.
of a leash,
I
though.
think it's
You
like
always have to be on
kind of
it.
a leash though,
And,
because you always have to
when
be
I hear
on
buzz,
it.
I'm like, oh,
And
I have friends.
when I hear buzz, I'm like, oh, I have friends.
I'm Sasha, I'm 16 years old. Currently I have the Xbox 360, MacBook Pro laptop, the iPad, the old Xbox, a Samsung Galaxy smartphone, and the PlayStation 4. I like to play a lot of different video games on the console, on my PS4 when I get home, and I just, veg out sometimes and play.
I have, first-person shooter, like
Call of Duty or Battlefield, and we also have a baseball game I've been playing. I absolutely think that there is an addictive quality to video games. Sometimes I'll just keep going if I really want to level up in a video
Usually when I
game.
do my homework, when I get home,
Usually when I do my homework, when I get home,
listen to music.
I'll either come to my room, listen to music, or I'll go to the living room and watch TV while I do my homework.
If I'm like reading something, and
If I'm like reading
I get
something,
distracted from TV,
and
or like I'll pause
like
it,
I get
I'll turn
distracted from
off the
TV,
music.
or like I'll pause
I'll
it,
go
or I'll
through
turn
the
off the
problem
music,
again,
and like
whatever I'm
I'll
working
go
on.
through the problem
Like,
again, or whatever I'm working on, because I guess I was just a little distracted.
If I'm doing my homework on my laptop, I might be also having conversations with my friends or, intermittently checking my phone. Sometimes if I just get too bored of my homework, I might play like Candy Crush or something. When I was younger, I could go much longer without using media, but when I'm in an environment that has a lot of media and all of my friends are on media, then I find it hard to kind of resist.
Something that Toby will never understand.
That video was from brilliantcommonsense.org, and I would recommend checking their website out. It's absolutely brilliant on there. I think one of the things to get there was the multitasking of the people in that video and of students today. How the older generations kind of do one thing at a time, but this generation, they do many things at once.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend. Doing homework means that you have other devices out, and you're going and you're doing other things. You're in contact with other people, watching TV, and this is posed to be pose some problems for some students.
Yeah, it's also kind of, there's lots of arguments, it's development now of society where we can multitask to a huge degree, whether it's right or not, but it's what's currently happening at the moment. Trying to stop it all, I think is going to be impossible.
I think so as well. I think it's far gone. I think it's nowhere going back at this point.
So, next stage, we want to talk about how students sharing things. What are they actually sharing, and kind of a digital footprint at the end of it as well. So, these are a lot of the apps students use to communicate. Starting here, we've got Messenger, we've got Snapchat, we've got Instagram, we've got Skype and FaceTime, these video ones. This is Tinder, and this is WhatsApp. Now, a lot of these now, they used to be text when you communicate with text, but now they've all got, you can send videos, you can send pictures, and you can do live video chats as well. Students come away from the likes of Facebook as a social media and gone on to these kind of more devices which are kind of much more mobile, not static anymore. A lot of students, these are the two very popular ones I know of at school. So Snapchat is where you can send instant messages which then disappear after 5 seconds. You can send pictures, you can send videos, you can send text. Now, it's good that it disappears and you've got less of kind of a footprint there, less evidence, you're using less memory on your phone, as I said, less digital footprint. Sadly, the students, then there's a big epidemic now worldwide that then sending, what basically the term sexting, and sending images or rude gestures of body parts, etc. on there. Now, a lot of the students I've spoken to, Mr. Mayor spoken to, it disappears after 5 seconds. That's why it's so great, and that's why it's a very popular thing. However, as I've pointed out to students before in internet safety lessons, but it takes a second to screenshot something on the screen. So once that's been screenshotted, then the person they've sent it to has got a permanent copy of it, and that's the issue.
Yeah. That is a phenomenon that we're seeing more and more with the students. They think that if it disappears after 5 to 10 seconds, then there's no record or a history of it. And that's absolutely not the case, as Mr. Everest said, and trying to get students to understand that they really need to be careful not to send inappropriate pictures or messages over these different communications portals.
You need to have a look at, talk to your child about which apps they're using and how they're using them. The app of Instagram is where they share photos and students can comment on them, and that kind of really sums up this generation. It's the constant need or want to share every aspect of their life and then comment on other people's sharing as well. When I ask the students Snapchat or Instagram, no, Mr. Evans, but both at the same time, they're both great, both for sharing. You do need to be aware, obviously, with the likes of Skype and FaceTime and even WhatsApp now, you can do video streaming in Messenger as well. It's, are they doing live video to each other? What are they doing on that? Speaking to some of my grade 4 students, their parents have told me they sit down and watch a movie together, but Skype in with each other and watch it via Skype as well. I mean, ingenious use of the technology, but we need to be really aware of how they're communicating and exactly what they're communicating, especially when it comes to sexting and the images that they are sending. Because I believe there's a age limit, Mr. May, for the sending of images.
Correct. 14 is the age limit.
Also be aware there are age restrictions on all of these apps. When you sign up, you sign to agreement, or the students have, that they are a certain age. A lot of them are 13 or 14. So if your child is younger than that, then they shouldn't be using these apps. The person responsible for that is you.
And that's, as Mr. Everest said, that it's really important that you have a chat with your child and make sure that you know what app that they're using, because I think some parents are not aware that their child using certain apps.
I mean, a good thing to say to your student, the child, is, okay, you're going to use this technology. We need to be open about it. You need to show me what apps you're using. Every now and again, I might ask to see them. Make the deal. Say, look, if I'm going to let you use it, I'm going to trust you. But every now and again, I do need to see it. You need to be open with me. It's very easy for myself and Mr. May to sit here and give this advice, but it's something you kind of try and need to foster at home, of this openness of, if you're going to use this technology, you're still a minor, so you need to be monitored with it. Now with all the legal streaming you can do now, it's much better. Now, all of these sites have child protection on, and you can set up, say for example Netflix, you can set up different accounts for different family members, and you can put restrictions on there. YouTube, you can put restrictions on, and we'll come to that a little bit later on. Your children are going to use this, and not anymore is everyone sat in front of the TV watching TV together, so you know what they're watching. They're going into their room watching it. They're watching it on a 5-inch screen on their mobile phone. So you need to be really aware of what they're doing and what they're actually watching. Now over to Mr. May.
Thank you. So I'll be talking a little bit about cyberbullying and what it is and what you can do to protect your child from cyberbullying. What is cyberbullying? It is when a child, a preteen or teen, is tormented, threatened, harassed, humiliated, or otherwise targeted by another child, or preteen, or tweens, as we said earlier, by using the internet and other interactive and digital technology such as mobile phones. It has to have a manner on both sides, and this is something that has been a bit unclear, but it does have to have a minor on both sides, or at least have been instigated by a minor against another minor. Now, the information highway. Now, you've probably heard of this term before, the information highway. The reason why it's such a big issue now is because there has been an increase in technology, and it has become easier for people to gather information. The internet has made it easier to do research and to communicate. Now, we have cell phones and instant messaging, and these devices have made it easier to stay in contact with our family and friends. However, the downside to this whole thing is that kids have increased the ways of bullying other kids without thinking they can get caught.
Yeah, especially looking at those videos from earlier, Mr. May.
Correct.
All those different apps that the students were talking on, and even if it's something like Snapchat, that instant message, sending it to someone they're being mean to,
Correct.
disappears in 5 seconds. There's very little evidence
Correct.
on screen after
Right.
that 5 seconds
Right.
that it happened.
Right. Now, we've been speaking to the students over the last few weeks concerning what is cyberbullying, what is it exactly, and some of the students, they're pretty unclear as to what it is. And here are some of the things that falls under cyberbullying. I won't read through all of them, but using lewd language to threaten, language that threatens your child. For example, I'm going to fight you. And the most important, the occurrences of the threats. If they're happening over and over again, then certainly this falls under bullying, and it should be taken serious. Where does cyberbullying occur? Quite a few places. Emails, instant messaging. The big one is the favorite websites such as we said earlier, Snapchat, Instagrams, WhatsApp, Tinder, FaceTime. What is also on the increase is people making fake profiles online and pretending they're someone else, and then sending out information or insulting other people under the name of someone else, and of course the cell phones. Cyberbullying awareness. Parents need to be aware that just because their child is using their own personal computer at home or their cell phone doesn't mean that they cannot get in trouble at school. And this is this big myth. And in Germany, the law is that if something happens outside of school and it affects the learning of students in school, then the school has jurisdiction to get involved. Now, that means that if your child sends a message to someone and the child comes to school on Monday, or there's other students who've also received this message and they report it to the school, then we have to do something about it. So just please remember that you are responsible for your child 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year.
Yeah, and everything we're talking about today, it's what the children are doing. But at the end of the day, as parents, you've got to be responsible for it. They are the minors, so you are legally responsible, and you've got to show your children the correct method, so to speak.
Now, Mr. Evers is probably more of an expert on this as I am. Can cyberbullying be tracked? Absolutely. Absolutely it can, and every computer contains a unique address that can be traced by your internet provider. And some students, speaking to them, I think they are aware, but it's not so clear to them. Yeah, so it's really important that students know that even though they're using some of these sites or social media portal, that if they send messages, it still can be tracked.
Yeah, in Germany, your internet service provider has a duty to keep a log of all the traffic going through, and they have to keep that for 30 days by German law. So things being sent, things being received are kept on a computer system somewhere for up to 30 days. What I've suggested to children in their internet lessons in the past is, say if they're using something like Snapchat and someone does send them a mean message or rude comment, is to actually use the screenshot, and then they've got evidence of it.
And they've starting to do that. I've had a few students send me emails with screenshots in there, so that's actually working.
Good. For an Android phone, it's a swipe across the screen, or it's the power button and the volume up button. It varies from different versions of them. It keeps changing. Students keep letting me know. But with the instant messaging, it's really important to do the screenshot, not to be afraid, and to pass it on. However, then the students have to be aware of, if they're sending images, things like that, someone on the other end can do the same back to them, keep a copy of it.
Correct. Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah.
Now, what can you do as parents? And this is always a question. And as Mr. Evers said, it's easy for us to sit here and say you should be doing the following things and everything is going to be okay. I don't know if there is a 100% sure way of protecting your child, but here are some things that you can do. Make certain that your child knows that they can come to you if they're being cyberbullied. Yeah, so it's important because a lot of kids, they keep it to themselves. So it's important that kids come and they speak openly about it if this is happening to them. Be supportive of your child. And make the school aware, especially if you feel like this is going to affect your child in school, that you let the school know so we can take actions in school.
Yeah, when we are doing internet safety in the IT lessons, I always say to them, go to your parents. If something's gone wrong, the parents aren't going to be cross. They're going to be pleased that you've come to them. If I say to them, if you don't want to speak to the parents, come and speak to a teacher. Sometimes it might be embarrassing and don't want to speak to the parents. So Mr. Mays on there, Miss Perfume is always available, Mr. Kofi is available, and even just a homeroom teacher can come and talk to and discuss it. The important thing is they don't feel alone. There's always someone they can come talk to at school and kind of just discuss it with.
Correct.
As well. There's some very good videos which I've done links to, which are on Web School, which have got a couple of videos exactly tackle these issues, that they're not alone in what's happening, and I would very much recommend you watch them. We do watch them in our IT lessons occasionally to kind of reinforce that message.
And this is just a slide where it lists some helpful websites. So in the very last point on this slide, contact your child's school. So if you feel that the school can be of assistance, we do ask that you contact us and let us know, and we'll see what we can do. We help us and assist as much as we possibly can.
This is something we can't do from here, from school, but this is something you can actively do at home. It's setting up parental control on your child's device. Now, it's a lot easier to do it when they're younger and they don't know all the workarounds from it. Now, setting up parent control, it is not 100% guaranteed. The students are ingenious about finding ways around it. They really are. what I've put on the web school section is a link to likes of setting up parental controls on Macs, on PCs, on tablets, and lots of different devices. So it's a real big push by all the companies to make sure they've got parental control, and then you can set them up on every device, and it does need to be on every device. If you just set it up on a laptop, then the child's going to use their mobile phone, and it can be set up. If the child kicks up a big fuss, why are you still on my phone? Well, I'll take the phone off you. This is one of the rules of having the phone. I set up some locks for you. And let's be honest, I probably have friends who don't have the same locks on, but that's always going to be the way. We can't put locks on everyone. So with the parental locks, you can say some of the content they can use and how long they go on for. Speaking to parents, a couple of years ago when we had another internet safety workshop, you can set up your router as well for some of the more advanced routers, where you can say which devices can use it and for which time periods as well. And it sounds quite complicated, but I do believe it's worth spending time. Now, SAMIS recommend on the tablets, because grades 4, 5 and 6 use tablets at school. We recommend this app. Is called App Lock, and it's really, really good. I really like it. Once you've installed it, it does take a little bit of time setting up, but you can set up for different different profiles for different children, or for different times. And say here we have Matthew here in the profile. You can say what apps they can use, what social media apps they can use, etc., etc. Now, what's really good about this, you can say the times as well. So Monday they're allowed to use it between 4 and 8. Tuesday the same, but maximum usage of 2 hours. So after 2 hours, the app lock cuts in and stops the usage.
So are these password controlled?
Yes. So as a parent, you would install it on the tablet or the phone, and then you would have a password. Now, I've seen some parents give the password out to the students so they can change it. That completely defeats the object. Try and make it bigger than a 4-digit password. It's not 100% secure. There will always be holes in this, but using something like this really does help. And I've put it on my tablet and given it a go, and I found it really, really useful as well. I know some other parents have kind of come back to me at school and said, yeah, this is really good. This device is completely free as well. It works on Android devices, which you use at school. Mm-hmm. There'll be very similar ones for Apple devices as well. I really would strongly recommend getting something like this. It just allows you that kind of sense of control, and you really do need to put it on. If you're worried, collect it. Now, Mr. May, I know when we've had these meetings before, lots of parents to say, how do we get our child not to use the technology as much? Have we got some tips there for that?
That's very, very difficult, because they're surrounded by people using the technology. The best advice that I can give parents is to show by examples. So have a time where it's family time, where no one is using any type of technology devices, and everybody's sitting around talking, maybe at dinner time. So if you can set up a time where students know this is the time where none of these devices can be used, then they tend to stick to that. Yeah, and they understand.
I know in the evening, having spoken to some parents, when it comes to kind of bedtime, the parents actually collect in all the technology. They collect in the phone, the tablet, and they kind of lock it in a cupboard. What you could then do is put yours in there as well and say, right, it's a whole family rule. Turn off the Wi-Fi. Literally unplug it.
Right.
If you're doing that, make sure your child hasn't got their data on their handy. Because there's obviously other ways around it, but these are kind of simple things you can try. As adults, our generation, we're used to having time without the technology. Students are natives in this technology of constantly being online, constantly sharing. Kind of to expect them to cut off completely for huge amounts of time is unrealistic.
Yeah, it's not realistic at all.
You'd face a massive backlash. So like Mr. May said, we have a family time with dinner, and there's no phones, etc., etc. And you may think, oh, they're always on their phone. The number of times I travel on the train in the mornings and just see everyone on their mobile phone, listening to music, reading online, playing games. Everyone does it, all ages. If you're at a nice restaurant and your partner goes to the toilet, first thing you do, you get out your phone to see what's happening. So we judge as children, but we're just as guilty.
Right. So you got to lead by example.
It's very hard to. So as I've been saying throughout the presentation, there are lots of great resources online on Web School for you to have a look at. As I said, it's how to set up parental locks. We've got tips for socialising. I've done a list of websites per grade level. These are the websites we use in class when we have chance to do internet safety. It starts with, say, grade 2 and 3, where we watch videos on what to share online, not talking to strangers, moving up to kind of when they're older, 14, 15, doing sexting and talking about this digital footprint. I've mentioned the digital footprint. This is what trace they've left online. Anything you do online, it still is pretty much there permanently, and it can be found. So you don't want to be having a YouTube video up there of something inappropriate, and then when you're going for a job or going for an interview or going for university, you don't want them searching and coming up with a video of you there. You need to make sure your child's aware of who's tagging videos and who's tagging photos, because that's a big issue as well. If they're tagged in a picture which is really inappropriate, that's got to stop.
Right.
And there's lots of ways around it. All the websites now, all the apps, they have really visible help sections where you can report the abuse like that if you don't want a tag there, if you don't want a video posted. It's really set up to help you. Just finally, there's a couple of tips. Miss May, I'm really pleased. I think we've covered all of those as well. Any last comments, Mr. May?
Just what we did not mention is gaming and gaming addiction, which seems to be on the rise, and it's mostly young teenage boys who are a victim of this. So parents need to be aware that this is an issue, and it's becoming more and more of an issue. And some parents have actually brought this up to me as well. So just be aware that that's out there as well.
Yeah. You just have to be so careful now about, it's so easy for children to slip their device, a tablet phone into their room, and I'm doing homework, door shut.
Correct.
Actually gaming. I remember when I was a child, I was never allowed a TV in my room.
Right.
But now children walk around with TVs in their pockets. So we have to be really aware of this and kind of be open with them. They're going to listen to music. I did when I was kind of studying. But as you saw from the videos, they have access to a lot more online now. So it's really important you set up these restrictions on their phone and even kind of collect certain devices. Okay, so you're doing your homework. Right, that's fine. You can have your handy music, but I'm taking the tablet. Different ways to work around it. Yeah. Anyway, I do hope you found this helpful.
And we thank you for listening and reading. And if you have questions, you can always get in touch with us, and we'll see if we can help you as best we can.
Yeah. Please do check out the resources on Web School. Thank you.
Thank you.